Celebrating under the theme Gender Equality, Today for a Sustainable Tomorrow, women of all age groups and walks of life from every nook and cranny in the city of Douala have joined their peers worldwide in commemorating the International Women's Day. Joining them to celebrate during this 37th edition was the Littoral Governor Samuel Ivaha Diboa, who has seized the opportunity in addressing some regional problems.
People want Douala to be in the fire. I would say that there's no way. Teachers have the problem and the government is doing its best to solve the problem. The government will solve that problem. Concerning those who want children or people to be caught in jail, they have missed their goal.
In addition, the governor has also applauded the massive turnout of the women while calling on the need for responsible feasting behaviors.
We have seen how the women have they demonstrated, they have make a past march here and other activities in our littoral region. So we are proud of what the women are doing here, and let's just go and continue the feast at the level of the family now.
On a day usually set aside to enable women break gender barriers and bias, many have been caught on camera delving masculine-oriented tasks such as drumming, trumpeting, escort riding, driving, amongst others. Talking to some of the women, here now is their knowledge of what they are celebrating. Away from the organized and patriotic March Past parade, the day has also been characterized with the recognition of some outstanding women, plus the display of cultural dances to call it a day.
Relatively, women from all corners in the central region have marched past at the Yaoundé 20th May Boulevard today, March 8, on the occasion of this year's International Women's Day, with focus on a theme aimed at narrowing the gender gap in the appropriation of gender approach. Speaking to some women after the march past behind and in camera, majority of these women misunderstood this year's theme. Colette Loom caught up with some of them as she now reports.
Women of the Central region have demonstrated all styles and moves as they march past the 20th May Boulevard, this 37th edition of the International Women's Day. A day set aside to celebrate women in all their value and hard work, and most importantly, for women to look deep into the areas of their corporate lives where things are not right and make it right. This year's 37th edition March Past was presided over by the Minister of Women Empowerment and the Family, Professor Marie-Thérèse Abenandoua, representative of the First Lady Chantal Biya, who didn't make it this year live at the 20th May Boulevard. Worth noting, this year's edition had 49 women demonstrated in each group, unlike the usual 140 in previous years, on strict COVID-19 measures.
The march past was nice. The march past was very interesting, and you see the women together with so many good and nice attire. You know that the women in Cameroon is really something marvelous.
Regarding this year's theme on equality between women and men for a sustainable tomorrow,
for the theme of this year, we are also happy because it is improving the image of the woman. If we can manage to have an equality between women and men, it will be a good thing for us. I don't believe strongly at that. It is a dream. As we consider every dream, it is something to be. So I think that it will come slowly but not completely, because God said the woman is under the man.
All in all, can women do same like men?
It can be equal because anything a man can do, a woman can do it more better. A man and a woman will never be equal because God make them differently. I'm advising the women in Cameroon that they should not sit and fold their hand and wait for their husbands to feed them or to give them money or to give money for their upkeeping. So they should struggle and fight for themselves.
Whatever the case may be, some schools of thought have it that a woman can never equate to a man, that natural forces made it that way, but hard-working women who deserve a position should be accorded, and women should not be limited in any form and break limits to do those jobs society term are only meant for men. Thus, women emancipation put in practice.
Prior to today's event and as part of activities to mark the 37th edition of the International Women's Day, the indomitable lionesses of the Disarmament, Demobilization and Reintegration Center DDR Northwest Region defeated Solidarity Ladies of Bamenda in a handball encounter 19 goals to 15. The match was played at the 5th Military Stadium Upstation, Bamenda Northwest Region. Charles Kibwa completes that story.
Women of the Disarmament, Demobilization and Reintegration DDR Center Bamenda Golden Pillars as part of activities to mark the 37th edition of the International Women's Day celebrations defeated Solidarity Ladies of Bamenda in a handball encounter 19 goals to 15, celebrating on the theme Equality Between Women and Men Today for a Sustainable Tomorrow. The match played at the 5th Military Stadium Upstation Bamenda, March 5th, 2022. Northwest Regional Delegate of Women's Empowerment Wiba Hassan said the fact that women this time around came out in their numbers, taking part in various activities since 2015, the socio-political crisis started in the Northwest and Southwest regions, is a long way for the return to normalcy.
Coming out and participating in our various activities like they used to do before 2015, we think that will go a long way to bring back life to normalcy as far as the women's activities and their various, the activities as far as the activities concerned.
Northwest Coordinator of the Disarmament, Demobilization and Reintegration Center, Kum Henry Etu. The march makes the lady of the Bamenda DDR Center feel a sense of belonging.
The women in the DDR Center feel part of the society. On the 11th of February is the men who play football. So we thought that during the celebration of the Women's Day, the women should also have a handball match with other women from other groups so that they can actually feel accepted.
With a message to the public, those at the DDR Center are a different people, socially comfortable with various activities being carried out in the center, is with a vision of empowering women for decades.
The President of the Republic of Cameroon, His Excellency Paul Biya, has instructed the disbursement of 2.7 billion francs CFA for the payment of teachers' arrears. The money is meant for the teachers who corrected scripts of the official examinations organized by the Baccalaureate Board for June 2020 and 2021 sessions. Joy Ngong completes that story.
This is the very first victory for teachers, which began on Monday, March 7, 2022, 3 weeks into the strike initiated by the movement On a trop supporté. In response to their demands, the President of the Republic has begun deciding on measures to restore calm. A correspondence from the Minister of State Secretary General at the Presidency of the Republic, addressed to his counterparts of the Prime Ministry yesterday, stated that following high instructions from the President of the Republic, the Minister of Finance has been instructed by a separate letter to proceed urgently to lifting the blockage of budgetary precaution for the benefits of secondary and primary education ministries in order to settle certain claims formulated by secondary school teachers. An additional 2.7 billion francs CFA was disbursed to pay arrears of markers of official examinations organized by the Office of the Baccalaureate for June 2020 and 2021 sessions. This is the first concrete response to the accumulated grievances of the teachers. Among other things, these teachers demand an immediate payment of the debt owed them, advancement, family allowances, the automatic indexation of teachers' salaries. While waiting for other solutions, the correspondent from the General Secretariat of the Presidency affirmed that the state recognizes the claims of the teachers as legitimate. The presidential decision to pay the arrears due to teachers mobilized as part of the marking fee of official examinations organized by the Baccalaureate Board comes 4 days after a consultation chaired by the Secretary General as the Presidency of the Republic and in which took part members of the protest movement. On a trop supporté.
The 94th batch of students from the Cameroon College of Arts and Science, CAS Kumba, have come together in Limbe, southwest region of Cameroon for a reunion. The reunion was fun-filled as some were excited to meet friends they had not seen for over 20 years. Catherine Okongwe has details in the following report.
Some ex-students of the 94th batch of Cameroon College of Arts and Science, Kumba, have come together in Limbe for a general reunion. It was a fun-filled event as many were excited to meet friends they had not seen for over 20 years. The Vice President, on behalf of the President, welcomed all the ex-students and appreciated them for their efforts in making the reunion a success.
We thank us for carving out time from our busy schedules to be able to be here at this time. The President and other members of the executive send their greetings. They are so happy that we were able to make it to this point. And it's as a result of our joint efforts. If we were not one, like Epeme has a slogan, now we will not move up to this extent. We thank us for contributing. We thank especially those who went an extra mile to make this occasion to be a success.
After a long deliberation, it was unanimously agreed that they shall be holding meetings twice a year. One is to be held at the school premises, during which they intend to give donations, either to the school as a whole or award scholarship to individual students with brilliant performances. At the end of the reunion, the ex-students shared a common meal and visited the beach in Limbe, where they enjoyed the nightlife of the beautiful town of Friendship.
The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees and the Association ASOPEV have officially launched a project dubbed Empowerment of Central African Refugees in 3 border regions of Cameroon. This was over the weekend in Betwa East region, as Audrey Zatsa tells us.
Cameroon is home to more than 4,000 Central African refugees in the 3 border regions, the South, the Adamawa and the North regions, 30% of whom live in developed sites and 70% of whom live in host communities with whom they share the same natural resources and basic social services that exist. The regions hosting the refugees are among the poorest in the country, where the local population itself is already very vulnerable. Assessments have revealed low capacity for basic services such as food, health, education, water, as well as very limited access to income-generating activities. It is for this reason that ASOPEV, an orphanage and vulnerable peoples association, together with the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, a UN refugee agency, officially launched a livelihood project recently in the East region of the country, which aims at empowering refugees and host communities in these 3 border regions of the country.
Le présent projet est donc venu à point nommé pour matérialiser la collaboration avec le Haut Commissariat des Nations.
This project is timely to materialize the collaboration with the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees to contribute to their empowerment. We do not only want to intervene with the resources made available by the UNHCR, but also to promote a certain coordination between the actors so that interventions are not overpowered and that we can work hand in gloves to ensure that tomorrow is a promise for our refugees and the population. It is equally our contribution to the local economy to help the government.
C'est aussi une contribution à l'économie locale pour aider le gouvernement.
A goal which shall be attained through employment, amongst others.
Il s'agit pour nous de soutenir les réfugiés centrafricains pour un accès plus accru.
It is for us to support the Central African refugees more active in income-generating activities through migrant credit to vocational training and employment in order to strengthen the empowerment and reduce independence from humanitarian aid, which is reducing from years to year. And this we wish to achieve through a partnership with ASOPEV.
Se réduire d'année en année. Et tout ça, nous voulons le faire à travers un partenariat avec ASOPEV.
In 2013, an outbreak of violence between armed groups forced more than 640,000 people to flee the country in search of safety, and an additional 630,000 were internally displaced. The majority of those who fled the country sought refuge in neighboring countries such as Cameroon, Chad, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and the Republic of Congo, with smaller numbers in Sudan and South Sudan. Today, the Central African Republic continues to experience sporadic surges of violence. The most recent occurrence was in December 2020, after a troubled election displaced more than 200,000 people in less than 2 months. These recent displacements, according to the United Nations Agency, bring the number of displaced Central Africans to over 1.9 million, representing over a third of the country's total population. Despite the Cameroonian government's aid and the humanitarian approach, available resources seem to be insufficient to make ends meet.
You're welcome back. The Cameroon Baptist Convention Health Services CBHS has formalized a partnership agreement with the National School of Local Administration Nsah, with the objective to foster inclusion. Charles Kebwa with details in the following report.
The Cameroon Baptist Convention Health Services has formalized a partnership agreement memorandum of understanding with the National School of Local Administration, Nsah, with the objective to foster inclusion.
The framework that we just signed with Nsah is intended to work with Nsah closely to ensure that candidates that come in here, administrators that come in here for training, to receive training, should be given inclusive education so that when they go out, they should be able to train those that they work with to be sensitive to the needs of people with disabilities in the community.
Professor T. Pius Mufi, Director of the Cameroon Baptist Convention Health Services, appreciating the very excellent working relationship with the former structure, CEFAM, and the open-mindedness, collaboration, and undivided attention of the current director of Nsah, said, today's world, there are two possibilities. You either join the crusade for inclusion or walk behind it, said, cognizance of the key role Nsah play in the development and decentralization process in Cameroon, the Cameroon Baptist Convention Health Services, within its framework as objective, will support Nsah in organizing inclusive entrance exam, designing a module on inclusive local governance, building the capacity of the staffs, and providing technical support.
Always time for everything, and until that time comes, it cannot be done. We are able to do it now because we know this school is undergoing lots of reformations. They are doing a lot of rethinking, and they are doing a lot of decentralization in Cameroon. And so this is the most appropriate time to bring in this innovation so that those that are living should live from here with enough.
Tani Tiku Baye, Director of the National School of Local Administration, Nsah, appreciative of the gift received, said before their partnership had begun benefiting as advantages of the partnership, and as end users of the equipment will do their best to ensure disability friendly at Nsah.
We try to level the playing field for all of them. And this is where we see the benefit of this equipment and this MOU, because it permits persons living with disabilities not to be at a disadvantage, either when they sit for the entrance exam in Nsah, but also in case they succeed when they study in Nsah for their training period.
With a more inclusive environment, the donation from the Cameroon Baptist Convention Health Services to Nsah, most modern Everest V5 Braille embracer, alongside of it a hose, is in line with the Cameroon Baptist Convention Health Services' continuous commitment in mainstreaming disability in conduct of exams, thus fostering inclusion.
Now, in touring the African continent, we made brief stops in Ivory Coast, Sudan and Egypt. Get full details in the next report with Nora Kakibi.
In news out of Africa, our first stop is in Ivory Coast, where at least 5 people, including 3 children, are reported dead, with more than 15 others severely injured following the collapse of a building in Abidjan. The 4-story building collapsed in the early hours of Monday morning, and firefighters continue desperately to look for victims during the day, while families wait anxiously to be updated on the fate of their loved ones. It should be noted that this incident comes barely a week after another building under construction collapsed in another part of Abidjan, killing 7 people. The districts where these sad incidents are occurring have undergone a real estate boom in recent years, and some property developer simply paid no heed to safety rules. Following several testimonies, the owner of the most recent building collapse on Monday had been alarmed on the risks, as most tenants confirmed they found cracks on the building. Ivorian Prime Minister Patrick Achi said investigations would be opened. Meanwhile, in Sudan, hundreds of protesters took to the streets of the Sudanese capital on Monday. As the protesters denounced the military coup of last October, security forces fired tear gas canisters toward them. Monday's rally was the latest in a string of protesters over the military power grab, which removed the civilian-led transitional government. And since then, there has been no political way out of the crisis. Negotiations under the UN envoy have remained quite unsuccessful. The protesters are calling for an immediate return of civilian rule, even though the ruling generals vow to hand power to an elected government, promising elections next year. And in Egypt, Radwa Helmi made history recently as the first female judge to sit on the bench of Egypt's State Council, a top court in the Arab country. Helmi was among the 98 women appointed last year to join the council, which is one of Egypt's main judicial bodies, following a decision by President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. Egypt has hundreds of women lawyers, but it took decades for one to move up the judicial ladder and became a judge. It should be noted that most women in Egypt do not have authority over their children or their personal lives, with such responsibility often delegated to the male guardians under Islamic Sharia-inspired law.
Nora Kibi's tour of the African continent concludes today's edition of Prime News on My Media Prime Television with me, Eileen Nsah. The news was produced by Ewane Li, coordinated by Editor-in-Chief Faith Tata. Thank you very much for viewing, and to the women folk, happy Women's Day. Stay blessed. Up next is Prime Hour with Kum Leonard and his team. Bye for now.